le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. C'est payé.
There's something about movies that feels different. We don't always know why, but we just know when it's there. Not sharper, not clean, just different. It's old technology. It's inconvenient. It's expensive. But everyone wants it. We call it the cinematic look, also known as the film look. Everyone talks about the film look as if it's something you add later. A preset, a lot, a finish. But here's the thing, it's not a preset, and it's definitely not a lot. Well, at least I thought it was, but that's all backwards. Because film never starts in post, it begins with this. But still, everyone can be wrong. So what is it about the film look we all love so much? So there I was, working on my computer, when it suddenly struck me. How does this thing actually work? So I did what a reasonable person could do. How to shoot on film. 24 frames. Shutter speed. Okay. Shallow depth of field. Sure. Seems straight enough. So I shot on film. Real film. Okay, that didn't go the way I thought it would. But it did make two things clear. Shooting on film doesn't automatically give you a cinematic image. And film is expensive. Really expensive. So I stepped back, I stopped trying to get a look, and tried to understand it. I looked closer than I've ever had before, and the same thing kept showing up. Highlights that didn't clip. They glowed. I didn't know what it was called yet. Turns out it's called halation. God, I love halation. Then there was this softness, bright areas bleeding slightly into shadows, almost like the light didn't know where to stop. Blue. Okay? Then there were imperfections in the image, tiny ones. imperfections that felt intentional. And the more I looked, the more something didn't add up. None of these films forced their look through grading alone. Everything from lighting, wardrobe, locations, down to props was crafted around the final visual style. Those halation highlights, the bloom, the grain, they weren't added to fix or save the image. They were the result of decisions made before the shot even existed. No amount of grading would have saved the shot if the necessary elements weren't already in the frame. And that's when it clicked. If you want to say this clearly, How makes it undeniable. The film feels warm, soft, intimate, but the main character mostly wore red, and almost every single shot contains hints of blue, in wardrobe, in props, in the environment. That contrast was built into the frame. So when the film is graded warm, it still feels balanced because the blue was already in the frame. They didn't just slap an orange and teal lot, they put blue in the scene. It wasn't last minute, it wasn't forced, it was already there, which is the part we tend to forget. See, color grading is often treated as the most important part, the final step where everything magically comes together. And sure, it can be that. But if grading is your first solution, you are already too late. Because cinematic color doesn't start in post. It starts before you even hit record. Okay, which brings us back to the film look. Film isn't loved for its technology. It's loved for how it behaves. Film isn't clean. It isn't perfect. It's unpredictable, textured, human. And that's what we keep chasing. Not the medium, the behavior. So, what do you actually change if film isn't an option? First, you give your image room to breathe. Log helps, not because it's flat, but because it holds light longer. So the highlights roll off instead of slamming into white. So the shadows don't collapse, and so the light has space to move. Then you shape the image gently. Exposure, contrast, white balance. Not to make it pop, but to make it believable. We're not trying to impress the eye, we're trying to convince it. And only then do you think about the look. If you're not shooting on film, this is where film emulation comes in. Not to fake film, but to recreate its behavior. There are a lot of ways to do this. I mostly use Film Look Creator in DaVinci Resolve. Sometimes I use Dehancer. Dehancer isn't just a color effect, it's a film emulation. It simulates how a film behaves, how highlights glow, how grain moves, how color compresses, and how frame breathes. It's not a lot. It's closer to a film lab inside your timeline. You give it an image and it reacts to the light that was already there. It doesn't fix a bad frame, it rewards a good one. But the work still has to happen first in the lighting, the wardrobe, the exposure, and the choices you make. And when you get those right, tools like this don't just add a look, they let the image become one. Dehancer is collaborating with this video. They supported the project by giving me access to the tool. And if you're curious, there's a link in the description for 10% off. Just a heads up, it can be pretty heavy, especially on lower spec machines. But that's kind of the point. Nothing about the film look was ever meant to be effortless. It isn't a preset, it's a mindset. A series of choices made long before color grading begins. And when you understand it, you start designing images that feel human.